All right, wheel my 2006 Snowblower run for another season. I waited a little too long. The snow is coming. We got 5 to 8 inches coming, which is not that much where we are, but it's still enough that I don't want to shovel it, especially if there's some rain mixed in with it. We'll follow up at the end of today's video, just some snow blowing action, assuming that I get it to work. So, unfortunately, it's a little too late for me to get spare parts. So we'll just have to take a look and see. First thing I'm going to do is just a really quick checklist on what I do when I just get my snowblower going for the season. So before I do that, I have a few questions. What do you think about my 19-year-old snowblower? Did I get my checklist right? What would you do different? And I'm really interested in how old your snowblower is or how many years you got out of the last one. Do I have a few more years in this one, or do I have to start saving? It's not burning oil yet. The lack of a snowblower is a big issue in northern New England, so please comment below. So first, before we start on the pre-checks, number one, never run your snowblower inside the garage. I know that's pretty obvious, but just don't do it no matter what. If you're going to do any heavy maintenance or anything where you think you're going to turn some stuff, disconnect that spark plug right there. And the number one rule, never, ever, ever fuel it inside the garage. That's a disaster waiting to happen. It's not diesel fuel, it's gasoline, and that stuff's explosive. So what do you do when you get your snowblower going for the season? I think most people just put a little gas in it, maybe even have gas left over from the previous season, start it up and move right along. And that's fine. It's probably pretty close to what I'm going to do, but I do a quick 2-minute check here, maybe a little bit less than that. Okay, the very number one thing that I do every season is I check that oil, and I do it as the number one item because if you run an engine with that oil, it will seize your rings and destroy your engine permanently. So I just do a quick check of my oil. This is 2-year-old oil. I'm going to run it another season. Some people change it every year, but I'm a little bit lazy. The things to see here are that the oil level is here. The add oil line is here, and the fill, so you have a range in here. So I'm a little over full, but not too full. If you overfill an engine significantly, you can also blow the engine as well. So I just do a quick check that I'm running with oil, and the oil's not pitch black or anything. So we'll stick that back in there. That looks good. Okay, the next thing I do is I just do a quick check to see that the drive works, and you just do that right now. No levers pushed. It freely rolls around. But if I push the drive disc, it's a cable, hits the friction disc on the inside, and then it should lock up. So you should be able to put all your weight on it and push as hard as you can and pull it and drag it across the floor without the wheels moving. That means your friction disc is pretty good. If you've ever had a slipping friction disc in a snowstorm, you know that a snowblower is near impossible to use just by forcing it into the snowbanks. You need that traction. And while you're thinking about that, just take a quick check at your tires. Make sure they're not running flat. They do take air. Again, this is like a 30-second checklist, unless you're filming it. Next thing I'll do is I'll just check that these auger blades and cables feel like they've got tension on them. I put it down, it kind of springs up, so I know there's something connected to it. That's the auger engagement right there. I'll just check my drive levers, see if those feel good. Everything's moving pretty smoothly and nice. Does the chute work? Move freely? Does this little doohickey, mine doesn't have a cable, so it's tension mounted. So it feels like it's got enough tension that the snow won't constantly blow it from the down position to the up position. So that's good. That's adjusted here on the tension bolt. Yeah, all working great. And with your spark plug disconnected so you can't accidentally start the engine, we're going to come over here on the blade side. We're going to see that the blades are sort of locked into position. They don't move freely. If they spin around, that means you've blown a shear bolt. If these blades spin around, either one, left or the right, might be the reason why when you were blowing your snow last year, you were like, damn, this thing isn't really kicking out quite as much snow as I remember when it was new. It could just be as simple as a broken shear pin. And these shear pins are designed to break before it'll break the blade or break the gears in here. So they're set. So don't just put any old bolt in there if you find one. This is a shear bolt right here for this model. So you want to buy the one for your model. And if you see, there's a little notch in there. It's designed to shear off at a certain amount of force, either up here or down here. So this is where it sits in the middle of the shaft. And it's designed to break off before the blade or the gears break. And that would happen like if you hit a rock or something. And so the number one thing that you can do before the season starts, no matter how cheap you are, is go to the hardware store, get shear bolts for your model, get a couple of them, because in the middle of a storm, when you break a shear bolt because you hit a rock or something, this blade's going to just not spin anymore and you'll get half the power out of the unit. And if you break both, you're just SOL. And don't use a regular bolt or you'll destroy your transmission or bend the blades beyond repair. So just remember that too. Take a peek in there. Everything looks good. Blades look good. Always use the shovel. That's why they stick them on the unit. I know somebody who was clearing ice out of here and the snowblower was actually turned off. And this inner blade, way in here, the second stage blade in here, was caught on a piece of ice. And as they were clearing it off, it gave free and it was under tension and the blade slipped and took part of her finger off. And she did recover, but it took several surgeries. So just note, here's your PSA, public service announcement. Always use that blade on there. I know mine's got some rust. It is from 2006. I don't want to spend the $22 they charge for Arian's orange spray paint, so I'm not doing that. And one of the final things that I do here is I've got my spark plug off already, so it won't start. Choke is off, engine is off, and I just want to crank this a few times because it's been sitting for several months. Just get a little oil up there, make sure my pistons are free. None of this is actually overkill. It's just a little bit of a check, and then you're done for pretty much the whole season. We're just trying to make sure those pistons that have been sitting with maybe a little tiny microscopic surface rust have a little bit of lubrication on them, so it's just gentle to your engine. Incidentally, I do store these dry. I don't, at the end of the season, I drain the fuel out of the tank and then just run it. Make sure the carburetor is run until it's empty. Okay, so that's kind of what I normally do here for just starting season maintenance. Probably good enough for most people in most situations. Just a little pre-check. Ideally, you do this a month before your first snowstorm so that if you need to send it in for repair or you need to order parts because you can repair it yourself, you can do it. So I'm just living on the edge here. I'll break my back today on snow if I'm wrong because I got a little too lazy. So yeah, so go ahead and skip ahead to will it run if you like. Otherwise, stay tuned if you want to see a little more advanced stuff where I just do a little bit of lubrication on all the places that I think needs it. Okay, so I'm going to lubricate the augers to put some grease in on this fitting here and some grease in on this fitting here, and that keeps this shaft kind of moving properly so the shear bolts will work correctly, or the shear pins. Don't know what the right term is. If you know what it is, just toss it in the comments. I'm going to use my lock and lube along with this quick disconnect. I actually splurged for these. I know you can get some miniature grease guns for very cheap, but they all seem to suck in the end. And this one is not too bad, so I'm really happy with it. I'm also going to be using red and tacky in the spray can. You can get that at Wally World or probably any auto parts store. Lucas makes it. I'm not affiliated, but I absolutely love this stuff in the little nozzle can. It's the full red and tacky grease, and I'm using red and tacky in my lock and lube gun there. Try to put as much of this in the show notes as possible. But it's got a lock position that you can twist this thing in, and then the piston pushes in, and then it's ready to grease. And this is a locking cap, so you can just put it on your thing and pump out enough grease. So I'm going to clip it onto my fitting here. My fitting is clean. That's it, and then it stays put. So you can get super cheap grease guns and fittings, but these were amazing. So I'm just going to go ahead and pump in once I feel the oil flowing. Oh, it's cold, so the grease is a little on the cold side. Oop, and there you go. As I pump it, you can see it's starting to shoot out the shear pin. So I've got enough on this one. So we'll go ahead and wipe that off after we do that one. Come over here. And unfortunately, I can't give you a good view. But on this grease gun, I love this lever because you literally clip it in and it pushes down. And on top of the fitting, you let go of the lever. So that connector just stays locked on there, and it just gives you time to pump in a couple squirts of grease. And you can go a little more. If you look in there, you can see some rusty stuff coming out. So we'll just clean that up for the season. Put fresh in. My best guess is we'll just keep going until we see some fresh red in there. I'm going to see little trails of it. There we go. So exceeding the grease, but got a nice fresh layer of grease in there. And as you can see, this one's pretty red, so I'm comfortable with that. But that's probably just water and rust and other stuff. So I'll pull my arm back, lock it into place here, and release it. The only thing I can say about this connector, as much as I love it, it does have a very long profile, so in a tight fitting space, you might not be able to fit it. But other than that, the rest of the time, it's amazing. So we'll just do a little cleanup up here, clean my tip up, clean the grease that we spread on that side, clean that big glob of grossness on that side, just so it doesn't shoot down the driveway once I start snow blowing. I'll just take a peek under that cover that's part of the chute system that rotates back and forth here, just to see if that needs any lube. That's going to require a little more force. Be careful not to lose all your parts everywhere. I got to stress again, this red and tacky spray can changed my life. It is just a little squirt of grease, so I don't have to get the grease gun out. And I'll just put a little bit on this gear down here on both sides of it, just so that this gear system has a little bit of lubrication. It might be meant to go dry, but honestly, I prefer it. I prefer it here. There you go. Nice and smooth for the winter. Just wipe up any excess here. We just want to give it a little coat. We're not trying to make a huge mess of it. If I can help it. Put that cover back on. Again, this is pretty optional at this point. I mean, if you're not having a problem, I would not worry too much about it. But if you want it to run new and like butter, you can do some stuff like that. Don't need that much torque on there. Crank that up to about 12. Feels right. All right, so the chute's lubed. And the next place I'll go is I'll just go to this control head here. Mine's pretty open, so I think a lot of the modern designs are a little more closed, but I'll just take a peek in here and see if there's anything that could benefit from just a tiny bit of lubrication. And I'm talking tiny bit. Again, this is better than this red and tacky. You squirt it out, it somehow emulsifies into grease. So it's a lot better than something like WD-40, which is which is more of a cleaning solution. But I'll just take a peek in here. See if there's, again, anything that could benefit from just a tiniest little bit of grease on the top. Not trying to create a mess. Sometimes it comes out a little more than you expect. I'll work it in. Dab off the extra. And that's pretty good right there. So I don't really, this is optional at this point, but boy, does that move like butter now. Okay, another place I'm going to go, and I didn't actually do this last year, is inside of this cable here that runs the auger. And I'm going to pull this boot up and just put a tiny little bit of lube down that chute. That's a place where you probably get a lot of moisture and stuff, and it'll just work its way down throughout the season. So I don't know what your opinion on that is. If somebody has some knowledge as to whether or not I should be doing that lube point here, let me know. But you can see it's already carrying a little bit up into the cable. Wipe it off just so it doesn't make such a mess. And then finally, down here, we will lube a little bit on that cable, a little bit in that point there. So this is the other end of the cable that's part of the auger mechanism. And I'm also shoot just a little bit of red and tacky, kind of a big glob there. I just want it to sort of work its way up into the cable a little bit. Might smear it on here, just so it drives works its way up. Kind of do that. Trying to thwart off the rust that happens to these cables. We'll put a little bit right in there. And we'll put a little bit right there on this pin mechanism here. Just the other end. This is part of the, this is the drive control right here. So we just lube that up. Just, it doesn't hurt. As long as it's not dripping everywhere. It'll just help keep things from getting rusted, if nothing else. But keeps everything kind of free. There's a lot of little parts in there. And that's as far as I'll go this season, unless something breaks. There should be no more maintenance needed. Try to clean off the excess spooge here. This is the only problem with the red and tacky is it does tend to come out with a big glob of grease at times. But again, that should just give everything a nice quick coat. So here's the big reveal. After a summer of sitting, is this thing going to run and will everything work? Or am I stuck shoveling the driveway while I'm waiting for parts?